Hello dear students, welcome back. Myself Chetan Pawar, Assistant Professor and Head Department of Botany, working at Gokhale Education Society's Arts, Commerce and Science College, Jawar District, Palghar. Students, today we are going to see the next topic from the Unit 1 Anatomy. This topic has been included in Mumbai University's FYPSC Botany Paper 2nd, Semester 2nd. In our previous presentation, we had discussed the simple permanent tissues from this unit, and in our today's presentation we are going to see the complex permanent tissues, which include the xylem and phloem from the unit 1, that is anatomy. So let's start with our today's complex permanent tissues. In plants, the complex permanent tissue, these are the permanent tissue which include the more than one type of cells, and these cells work together as a single unit to perform a common function. The principal complex tissues in plants, these are of two types, xylem and phloem. These tissues, they are together called as the vascular tissues. So first of all we will see about the xylem. Xylem, it is a complex permanent tissue which conducts the water and inorganic solutes in the plants. In this diagram, you can see the water and the minerals or inorganic solutes which are present in the soil. They are absorbed by the roots, and through the xylem, these water and inorganic solutes are transported or conducted to the photosynthetic part, that means the leaves of the plants, where these water and inorganic solutes are used to synthesize the food material. In addition to that, the xylem, it also provides the mechanical support to the plant body. In contrast to that, the phloem, it translocates the organic solutes which are produced in the form of food by the process of photosynthesis. So that food material, it is translocated to different non-photosynthetic parts of the plant. That means when these leaves, they synthesize the food material by the process of photosynthesis, so that synthesized food material, it is translocated either to the underground part or the non-photosynthetic part, which is aerial one. So to these different parts, that photosynthetic products, that means the food material, it is translocated through phloem. The food material which is produced by the photosynthetic part, it is translocated to different non-photosynthetic parts by the phloem. In addition to that, phloem also provides the mechanical support to the plant body. So in simple words, xylem, it conducts the water and minerals from soil to the different photosynthetic parts, while the phloem, it translocates the photosynthetic products, that means the food material, from the leaves or the photosynthetic parts to the non-photosynthetic part of the plant. First of all, we will discuss about the xylem. As we have already discussed that xylem conducts water and minerals from soil to the different parts of the plant body. This xylem, it actually consisting of the four components: tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem sclerenchyma, out of which the only the xylem parenchyma, which is also called as the wood parenchyma, so only the xylem parenchyma is a living component or living tissue, and the rest tissues, that means the tracheids, vessels, xylem, sclerenchyma. These are the dead and lignified tissues. Xylem is also called as a wood, and it forms the bulk of the stem and the roots of the vascular plants. In this diagram, you can see that these are the blue colored vessel elements, and in addition to these vessel elements there is also the presence of the tracheids. The vessels are joined end to end while the tracheids are having the interlocking ends. The movement of water in vessels, it takes place in a straight line, while in tracheids it takes place in a zigzag way. So first of all, we will see the tracheids in detail. Tracheids are very much elongated cells. These tracheids, they are dead at maturity. So initially they are living, but at maturity they lose their protoplast and they become dead. The large cavity or the lumen with the blunt or tapering and interlocking ends are present in tracheids. Here you can see these are the two tracheidal elements, and these tracheidal elements, they are having the large cavity or lumen through which the water gets transferred, and it is having the tapering or the blunt ends, and the ends are interlocking. This is a very important point, that in tracheids the ends are interlocking. The tracheids in cross section, they appear in a polyhedral shape. Tracheids, these are the most primitive and the fundamental cell type. That means during the course of evolution in xylem, the tracheids are originated, and from tracheids the vessels have originated. That means the tracheids, they are most primitive and the fundamental cell type. The tracheids in the primary xylem, they originate from the procambium, while in secondary xylem, tracheids originate from the vascular cambium. These tracheids, they are predominant in lower plants such as the pteridophytes and gymnosperms, but practically they occur in all groups of vascular plants including angiosperms. Tracheids, they carry the transport of water and solutes, and they also give the mechanical support to the plant body. The function that is mainly uh, allotted to the xylem is the transport of water and solutes. Tracheids, they show the presence of the secondary wall thickenings, and they also show the small minute, uh, we can say the minute structures which are called as the pits. The wall of the tracheid, it is very hard, thick, and it is usually lignified. The secondary walls are deposited in different manner, showing the different wall thickenings. In this diagram, you can see there are different types of the secondary wall thickenings. First one is the annular, which is a ring-like thickening. The first diagram, in first diagram you can see the thickening, it is in the form of ring. When the ring-like thickening is present, it is called as a annular type of wall thickening. Then the second one, it is called as a spiral, which includes the helical or spiral type of thickening. Then the third one is the scalariform, which is a ladder-like. In this diagram you can see this is the ladder-like thickening. It is called as the scalariform type of the wall thickening. Then the reticulate, which is a network or mesh-like thickening, having a network or mesh-like thickenings. And the last one is called as the pitted. Pitted means these are the pits which are only the unthickened areas, and it is due to the absence of the secondary wall. These thickenings pitted wall thickenings, they can be of two types: simple pits, where there is only the unthickened or the absence of secondary wall. It is only the unthickened area which is having the absence of secondary wall, that is called as a simple pits. While the bordered pits, in bordered pits, the secondary wall, it arches from both the sides to form the dome shaped structure, which is a collar like structure. Here you can see there is this collar like structure, while this is without collar. It is called as a simple pits and the border pits. So these two types of the pitted thickenings can be present on the tracheids. So these are the secondary wall thickenings and the pits. Two types of pits: simple pits and bordered pits. Now moving towards the second type of the xylem element, that is a vessels or trachea. Vessels, these are the long tube-like bodies which are arranged in longitudinal series. That means parallel to the long axis of the stem or the root. That is called as a longitudinal series, and it is arranged end to end. There is the difference between the vessels and the tracheids, that vessels, they are joined end to end, while the tracheids, they are having the interlocking ends with the perforation plates, which can be either simple or multiple type. In this diagram you can see here, so this is a one vessel element, this is the one vessel element, and this is the other one, and these two, they are joined through this perforation plate. Similarly, here is the perforation plate. This perforation plate, it can be of two types. It can be either multiple type like this, or it can be of simple type. So there are two types of perforation plates. The vessels are formed by the fusion of many cells, which are called as a vessel elements. Here we have already discussed, this is a single vessel element. This is a single vessel element, and this single vessel element, many vessel elements, they fuse with each other and they form the complete vessel, which is called as a syncytids. The wall of the vessels are thick, hard and lignified. There are two types of vessels, perforation plates are present. One is multiple perforation plate and second one is the simple perforation plate. Here we have discussed, this is the multiple type of the perforation plate, while this is a simple type of perforation plate. The multiple perforation plate, it is of primitive type, which includes the several small openings. So many small openings are present on the multiple perforation plate, and it is observed in the primitive type of angiosperms such as the Magnolia, Michaelia, etc. When the simple perforation plate, it is of advanced type, where the perforations, they are all perforations, they fuse with each other and they form a single large opening. This is an advanced character and it is observed in the higher angiosperms such as the cucurbita. The vessels, they originate in the primary xylem from procambium, while in secondary xylem, the vessel elements originate from the vascular cambium. And these vessels or tracheids, it is a chief conducting tissue in the vascular plants. Along with the tracheids, vessels, they mainly conduct the water and minerals. Now the third component of the xylem is called as the xylem sclerenchyma. It is also called as the wood fibers or xylem fibers. The sclerenchyma fibers, which remain associated with the xylem, they are called as the xylem fibers. In this diagram, you can see these are the xylem fibers, which are very much elongated and dead cells with the lignified walls and the tapering interlocking ends. The ends of these xylem fibers, they are interlocking. You can see here they are having the interlocking ends, and they are also having the narrow lumen These are longer than tracheids and they are without secondary thickenings, but they show the lignin deposition. There is xylem sclerenchyma. It is present in both the primary and the secondary xylem. And these xylem sclerenchyma, it provides the mechanical support due to high degree of lignification. So mainly the xylem fibers or the wood fibers, they provide the mechanical support to the plant body. Xylem parenchyma, this is the last component from the xylem. It is the only living component of the xylem. As you know that the parenchyma cells, these are always living cells. That's why the xylem parenchyma, it is also a living component of the xylem. Xylem parenchyma, it is present in both primary and the secondary xylem. In primary xylem, they are present with other xylem elements, and they originate from the same cambium. While in case of secondary xylem, it consists of two forms, the wood parenchyma and the ray parenchyma. Wood parenchyma, it lie in a vertical series. This is the wood parenchyma and this is a ray parenchyma. The wood parenchyma, it is present in a vertical series and it originates from the fusiform initial cambium. The vascular cambium, it consists of two types of initial cells, fusiform initial and ray initial cells. So wood parenchyma, it originates from the fusiform initial cells and it lie in a vertical series. You can see here it is present in a vertical series, while the ray parenchyma, they are present in a transverse series and they originate from the ray initial cambium. Ray, it means the medullary ray. That means the ray parenchyma, they produce the secondary medullary rays in the xylem. The parenchyma, it is meant for the storage of starch, fatty foods and the tannins, etc. Let us move towards the types of xylem. So there are two types of classifications. Depending upon the time of origin and the internal structure, the xylem, it can be of two types, protoxylem and metaxylem. Proto means first, meta means later. So these are the xylem elements which are firstly formed xylem. Firstly, that means after the formation, they are formed firstly in the xylem. That's why they called as the first formed xylem. They consist of small tracheids and the vessel elements with the annular and spiral type of thickenings, while the metaxylem, it is a later formed. That means these are the xylem elements which are formed later. During the growth, they produced laterally, and the larger tracheids and the vessels with reticulate, scalariform and petiate thickenings are present in metaxylem. So only the major difference is that protoxylem, it is the firstly formed xylem containing the smaller tracheids and vessel elements, while the metaxylem, it is a later formed xylem which consists of larger tracheids and vessel elements. Then the second type of classification, it is depending upon the position of protoxylem in relation to the metaxylem. That means the position of protoxylem, it refers to the type of xylem. Exarch. Exarch means protoxylem, it is present on the outer side. That's why it is called as exarch. And in this case, the xylem shows the centripetal development. Centripetal development means the protoxylem, it is present towards the outer side. That means the development of the xylem, it takes place towards the axis of the stem or the root. So that is called as a centripetal development, means towards the axis development. And it is this exact type of the protoxylem, it can be observed in roots. Okay. Then the second one is the endarch. Endarch means the protoxylem, it is present on inner side. That means towards the inner side the protoxylem is present, metaxylem is present towards the outer side. In exarch, the protoxylem is present towards the outer side, metaxylem is present towards the inner side. And when the protoxylem lies on the inner side, then that type of development is called as a centrifugal development, means away from the axis development. away from the axis development, and this type of enlarged xylem is observed in stems. While in out of these two, there is another one third type which is an intermediate. This is called as a mesarch. Mesarch, as the name suggests, middle. That means the protoxylem, it lies centrally, and on both sides there is the presence of metaxylem. And this type of development it occurs centripetally as well as the centrifugally, and such a type of xylem can be observed in Cycas rachis. So in rachis of Cycas we can observe the mesarch type of the xylem. Now moving towards the second type of the complex permanent tissues, which is called as the phloem. As we have already discussed, the phloem, it translocates the organic food material from the photosynthetic part to the non-photosynthetic parts of the plant body, as well as it also provides the mechanical support. This xylem, it also consists of the four components: sieve elements, which mainly includes the sieve cells and the sieve tubes, then the companion cell, phloem parenchyma and phloem sclerenchyma. In this diagram, you can see these are the sieve tubes. These are the sieve tubes, and along with these sieve tubes, there is the companion cells. So these are the companion cell, and this is called as the phloem parenchyma. The sieve cells, they are present along with these element, but that is not shown over here. And the phloem fibers are also present along with these phloem these elements of the phloem. So out of these four components of the xylem, only the phloem sclerenchyma is dead and the rest are living tissues, which is completely opposite in the xylem. In case of xylem, only the phloem xylem parenchyma is living, rest are dead. But in case of phloem, only the phloem sclerenchyma, it is a dead tissue, and the rest all are living tissues. The phloem is also called as the bast or and the lepton. First of all, we will see about the sieve elements. In phloem, the sieve elements, they are the most important constituent of the phloem, which consisting of the sieve cells and the sieve tubes. Okay, sieve elements, these are the living cells without nucleus, cellulosic primary cell wall. Okay, so they are having the only the primary cell wall, which is cellulosic, and they are without the nucleus. First of all, we will see about the sieve cells. They may be compared with the tracheids of the xylem. Sieve cells can be compared with the tracheids of the xylem, which are narrow, elongated cells. These are more primitive than the sieve tubes, and they occur in the lower vascular plants. That means the pteridophytes, then in gymnosperms or primitive dicotyledons. So in these plants, we can observe the sieve cells. While the sieve tubes, they may be compared with the vessels. These are the long tube-like bodies which are arranged in the longitudinal series. In this diagram, you can see these are the sieve tube cells. There are many sieve tube cells which are joined end to end in a longitudinal series. That means along with the long axis of the stem or the root, and they are having the perforated end walls. These you can see these are called as the perforated end walls. Having the perforations means the small openings, and these sieve tubes, they are arranged end to end in a longitudinal series, and the major translocation of food material takes place through the sieve tubes, similar to the vessels which mainly translocate the food material in water in the xylem. Okay, so sieve tubes, they are mainly involved in the translocation, and they are having the very narrow they are having the larger area for the translocation of food material. These long tube-like bodies, they are arranged in longitudinal series, and they are having the perforated end walls. These perforated end walls, these are called as the sieve plates, and the perforations in the sieve plates are called as the sieve areas. So here you can see this total plate like structure is called as a sieve plate, and these small perforations or the openings are called as the sieve areas or the sieve pores. Okay, the sieve tubes are evolved from the sieve cells, and they occur in all angiosperms. That means sieve tubes are present in all angiosperms, and sieve plates can be of two types, the simple or compound type. In simple, there is only a single opening is present, which is advanced type, and in compound type, the many sieve areas are present, which is called as a compound, and it is a primitive type. So it is so all these things are similar to the vessels and the tracheids. Then the second component of the phloem is called as the companion cells. The companion cells, these are associated with the sieve tubes. They are associated both physiologically and ontogenically with the sieve elements or the sieve tubes. Here you can see this is a companion cell. Okay, it is associated with this sieve tube. Okay, these are the smaller elongated cells, companion cells. These are smaller elongated cells which are having the dense cytoplasm, prominent nuclei, and all other cellular contents. Only the starch grains are absent. That means all cellular structures containing the nucleus, cytoplasm, and the other cell organelles, all these are present in the companion cells, and they occur along the lateral wall of the sieve tubes firmly. That means you cannot separate the companion cell from the sieve tubes easily by using the simple maceration technique. Okay, so they are attached very firmly, and they occur along the lateral wall of the sieve tubes. They occur along with the lateral wall of the sieve tubes, and that's why they are called as the companion cells, because they give the company to the sieve tubes. Okay, it may be equal to the accompanying sieve tube, or the mother cell may divide to form the series of companion cells. The length of the companion cell, it can be equal to the accompanying sieve tube, or it may divide for 2 or 3 times to form a series of companion cells. The common wall which is present between the companion cell and the sieve tube, it is thin, and it shows the presence of plasmodesmata through which the cytoplasmic connections are made between the companion cell and sieve tubes. Then companion cells occur abundantly in angiosperms, particularly in monocotyledons, and they are absent in the lower vascular plants such as the pteridophyte gymnosperms. So they are absent. So companion cells, it is an advanced character in the phloem, and they assist the sieve tubes in the translocation of solutes. That's why they are called as the companion cells. Then the third type of the phloem component or the phloem element is called as a phloem sclerenchyma. These are also called as the phloem fibers. It is only the non-living part of the phloem. Rest all other part of the phloem are living. They are also called as the bast fibers, and mostly they are present in the secondary phloem only. They show the elongated cells which are having the lignified thickenings. Here you can see this is the phloem fiber. Okay, they show the elongated cells and lignified thickenings, and they give the mechanical support. And the last point is the phloem parenchyma. These parenchyma cells are present in the good number along with the sieve elements. Here you can see these cells are called as the phloem parenchyma. They are living cells with the cellulosic walls, having the cellulosic walls, and in secondary phloem they may be phloem parenchyma or the ray cells. So similar to the xylem, in phloem also the parenchyma in secondary phloem, it can be of two types, the phloem parenchyma or the ray cells. The parenchyma is absent in monocots and in some dicots. Okay, so they are present in the lower plants, and they mainly store and translocate the organic food reserves which are present in the phloem. So they mainly store that and translocate the organic food reserves. Okay, thank you.